Hey, what's up? All right, thanks for tuning in for another episode of the Analog Hour. Analog Kid here, and it is the fifth episode of this podcast. Really appreciate all the support. Really appreciate all the listeners so far. Every listen counts, and hopefully, like I said in the last episode, we can make this an institution that we can all be a part of. And so this week coming up, I got some shows. Hopefully, I can see you guys there. North Hollywood, Cool Locks Woodshed. The band and I, the Vibes, will be playing there tomorrow night, Tuesday night. That is March 6th. So if you're in the North Hollywood area, definitely drop by, and it's a free show with the Vibes. You're definitely going to have a good time. The next day, we will be at the Anarchy Library, and that's Wednesday, March 7th. Hope to see you guys there. All right. This week's episode. Started following a cool rock and roll band out here in LA. They are straight up rock and roll, and they're heavy, and they're fun, and I like them a lot. So I thought they'd be a perfect guest for this podcast. And I got Charlie, the guitar player and singer of the Dirty Cakes, to come over and shoot the shit and talk about some rock and roll. And we talked about some drugs, and we talked about girls. Nice and wholesome podcast for everybody out there. So here it is. Charlie from the Dirty Cakes. Hey, what's up, everybody? Thanks for tuning in. I got a pretty cool guest today. One of the cool up-and-coming bands that I've been following out here in LA. They got a pretty cool garage rock and roll, straight up rock and roll kind of sound, and I'm into that. And so I started following them, and I reached out to them, and I said, what's up? And wanted to ask them if they wanted to be on the podcast. And their lead singer / guitar player is here today. Introduce yourself, man.
Yeah. My name's Charlie. Play guitar and sing in the band Dirty Cakes. Thank you very much for having, I'm going to say us on behalf of the whole band here. Sorry, I was the only one that showed up. Everybody's a working old man these days.
Right.
But I got my coffee. I had some ice cream on the way over. Let's have some fun, man.
Let's do it. So like I said, Dirty Cakes, they're like a hard rock band out of LA, and they got some pretty heavy tunes. And so how long you guys been together doing this rock and roll thing?
Well, with this lineup and this outfit, we've been doing it for about a year and a half. The band's actually about 5 years old.
Right.
But it came to a point where...
as Dirty Cakes.
Yeah, as Dirty Cakes. So it started off with me and a guy doing it, and then roped in some other people. And, with any kind of relationship, a band's just like a marriage or something else. Like you eventually get sick and tired of each other, and, whatever happens. And one guy went off to go audition to be on The Voice, and somebody else wanted to be a stand-up comedian. And... things happen. People come and go, but the lineup we got now is just, everybody wants to be there to play fun, heavy songs about drugs and fucking. And, we have a real good sensibility, real good time. And,
right on.
We're friends and musicians first, which is great. Before it was like, there's some heat going down and people want to be a part of it. But now it's like, real solid guys. I've been playing for like 20 years. This is not my first band. It's been a lot of fun. And then the drummer's been in bands here in the Los Angeles area for 10, 15 years. He's played guitar in metal bands, played bass in funk bands, and played drums in punk rock. And
Right on.
our bass player, we're blessed. Our bass player is probably our most talented musician. In general, as the lead guitar, as the guitar player and singer, I am blessed to be the worst musician in the band by far. And our bass player, this guy Rick, I call him Big Rick Mahalo because he's from Hawaii, Puerto
Right
Rican
on.
from Hawaii.
Cool.
He was in some really big two-tone
Right.
ska bands. He was in
That's awesome, man.
English Beat and the Specials and everything else. So we got a nice
Dude,
little group of people just
I
going out
love
and
the
having some
specials
fun.
and the English beat. In fact, our band covers the specials.
There you go.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so-
yeah. I'll let him know.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So you guys, as the Dirty Cake's been 5 years, but your
Right.
songs have been around since then.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
used to
So
play-
some of our songs, some of the songs we play in the set and on the records are that old. But half of the set is stuff that we've been writing together,
Oh, right
which
on.
is great. But in the initial part of the band, it was just when I moved to LA, I had this nice, history of songs I've been playing for 10, 15, 20 years. But with these guys, one of the great beauties is I'm a decent songwriter. So I'll come up with some fun ideas, stuff that like I don't forget and kind of gives me something, takes me from the heel of my foot to the toe of my foot. The bass player figures out how to make it not suck, and then the drummer tells us if it's any good. So it's a
Right on.
really good, he's the voice of reason, because me and the bass player could nerd
So you-
way the hell out. But if the
Right
drummer's
on.
like, that's fantastic, gold star, it sucks, then we drop it and move right along.
Right on. So how long have you been with this current drummer? Is a year and a half, right?
Yeah. This current drummer is a year and a half. Before he was the drummer, he was actually the bass player. But ironically enough, he's a better drummer than bassist and a much better drummer than the drummer we had before that. So when our drummer wanted to
Right
go on
on.
tour to be a stand-up comedian, moved the bassist to the drums and asked my guitar tech, Big Rick Mahalo, to jump on bass, and he said yes.
So that's Dirty Cakes now.
And that's Dirty Cakes now.
Dope. Right on.
Yeah.
All right, we're back in action.
Yeah.
We ran out of juice there for a second.
Oh, no. We're good to go now, though.
But yeah, so you're a guitar player.
I'm the guitar player. We also got a drummer and a bassist.
How long have you been playing guitar?
I've been playing guitar. I stole my dad's 12 string when I was 8, when he was in the church band. So far too long.
Right on.
Yeah.
So, who's your favorite guitar players?
Yeah, if I had to I like a lot of guys, and I think I always kind of roll through different people. But right now, over the last couple of years, I was really trying to take some lessons and take the style of guys like Josh Homme from Queens of the
Right on.
Stone Age. But I also grew up listening to Creedence and Nirvana. So a lot of the Kinks, stuff like that. So a lot of it
Cool.
has always been really focusing on people that either I never got into too many real big noodlers. I was never into the big Joe Satriani's and all of that. I feel like there's two different ways of looking at it, being a musician. One, you can be really artistically motivated, or two, you can be really musically talented.
Right.
All your theory
It's
and
different.
Chinese arithmetic.
They're two different things.
Two different things. So I always went for the guys that were more artistic, that made it work.
Uh-huh.
I'd rather feel something from the music than solve arithmetic.
Right on. Do you
and
like
that's
Angus?
What's that?
Angus Young?
Yeah, absolutely. Great stuff, man. Those riffs, it makes you feel good. You can't have it on for more than 5 seconds and not stand up and smile, make an ugly face, shake your hips, enjoy yourself.
Right on.
It is so good.
Do you ever get into Ted Nugent?
Yeah, the Nuge.
I
Yeah,
just got started getting into the Nuge.
yeah. You got to take his personal politics aside, but
it's
man,
good
Wango
rock and
Tango
roll,
is
man.
awesome, man. He has some really good live records from back in the day. Very few people
Definitely.
swing their London broil around like him.
Yeah, dude. How about Aerosmith? You ever got into?
Yeah. I like some old school Aerosmith. The 70s Aerosmith is really good stuff. I mean, the '90s Aerosmith is good too. I like.
Yeah, me too, man. I'm into that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I love the music video with his daughter and Alicia
Yeah.
Silverstone in
Yeah,
it.
dude.
Like,
Yeah.
And what were the tracks from
That's
the?
some good songwriting, man.
Oh yeah, man. And it's all chorus and nice
Yeah.
hooks and like they do a
Exactly.
great cross of like riffs and catchy stuff. It's hard to not dig that. Like if
Yeah.
you don't like it, that's fine. You don't have to be right.
Right on, right on. Cool. And so, how about like British stuff? You mentioned the Kinks.
Yeah, I like a lot of British stuff. I like the British '60s pop stuff. So whether it's the Kinks, or I mean, clearly also like the Beatles and the Stones. But I was also a big fan of like the late '90s, early 2000s British stuff, like
Oh, yeah?
Blur and Oasis and
Right
stuff
on.
like that. Like,
Cool.
I think Blur is one of those really, really underrated bands. Everybody knows them from like Song 2 or something, but when I was a radio DJ, I'd play it on coffee and TV, and my phone
shit.
would ring guaranteed every single time.
Where were you a DJ at?
I used to be a DJ in Orlando, Florida. I had an FM show. Started in college radio and ended up being on Bubba the Love Sponge radio network as a third voice for Shannon Burke's show before the station went under after the sex tape with Hulk Hogan and Bubba's wife.
What did that whole big thing?
Yeah,
right?
yeah, that whole big thing tanked Bubba's radio station. And at some point in time around that time, I also moved out to California. I promise in no way were the two related in any way at all.
Right on. So what kind of stuff were you playing in your show? Or
I was
were you
playing,
music?
so I had this show called, I had this show and it was like, my last show was the 7 p.m. show on a weekday. And it was like music talking a whole lot of rock. So I would open it up with live songs.
Sweet.
And then play some local band stuff. We'd get into some news. We'd have touring bands come through. We'd give away concert tickets and stuff like that.
Right
We
on.
would do like This Week in Rock, little history things like This Week and whatever. Like here are all the things that happened.
Was
with
it
nice
a
music
rock
and-
station?
So it was,
se?
it was started off as like a multi-genre station. So like it was mainly rock and roll, but they would also at night play like dance music or like news stuff or
Yeah.
it was not a clear channel radio station, so it was real people playing music. And
Oh, cool.
while it may have been one thing or another, like my show was rock and roll, and you knew when you were
Sweet.
gonna listen into it, you were gonna hear some rock and roll all the time.
Sweet. So what kind of bands would you play?
I mean, I'd play everything from Motorhead to Judas Priest to
Sick.
the Kinks and Chuck Berry, some Nirvana. I mean, a bunch of local bands. Basically anything that gave me a visceral reaction and inspired me to sin. I usually put on the air. Like if it, as a general rule, like I think all rock and roll, and I did this on the show. I do this at the Dirty Cake shows. Our set's set up in a certain way. In general, rock and roll should be catchy enough for girls to dance to, heavy
Right.
enough for the boys to dig. And if the girls will go to the shows and the boys aren't embarrassed to go to it, the venue's going to sell a lot of booze and you're going to lubricate a lot of fornication afterwards, which means people are going to dig it and come back the next time.
Wow, that's a good formula for good rock and roll. right
Yeah,
there. I
and
mean,
all of it at the end of the day is
yeah.
just us doing stuff that we enjoy.
which brings me to this question: for yourself personally? What's the most rock and roll? What's the best rock and roll record ever?
Oh man, best rock record ever. Okay. I mean, I definitely go through pains, but all right, can I pick 3? Is that okay for right now?
Okay, for right.
Okay, for right now.
Yeah.
What I'm digging on right now. Top 3 records. Queens of the Stone Age, Songs for the Deaf.
Ooh.
Fantastic top
Yeah,
to bottom.
definitely. I have to agree. It's one of the top.
It's so damn good.
Yeah.
Iggy Pop and the Stooges, Funhouse. Really damn good record.
Funhouse. Wait, which one's that one? What are the
It's
songs?
I think it's their second record.
Okay.
Um,
I'm not. I just know. I know the
it's-
first record.
yeah.
I'm not familiar with that one.
No, that-
what's on that one?
Funhouse is the title track on it.
I haven't
Anyway,
heard
that one's really, really good.
Is I Want to Be Your Dog on that one?
I think that one. I think Be Your
No.
Dog's on the first one.
Oh,
On the
okay.
first one. I don't know. I wish I knew better. With these, I've found most of my music
I
through
definitely
Napster.
have-
I get it singles at a time, and
I
half the
gotta
time they
check it
lied
out.
on the album.
Well, I gotta check it out.
Yeah, yeah. And then another one that I'm digging. Well, I mean, I guess I'll go with those two because the other ones I'm digging right now aren't necessarily as much rock and roll, but like Tom Waits' "Bad as Me," his
Ah,
latest record. I mean, it's rocking. I don't know if you call it rock and roll,
right
but
on.
that
But
shit
Tom
is the
Waits
truth.
is heavy as fuck, man.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah.
But that's surprising that you picked the second record over Raw Power. by
Yeah,
Stooges. I mean, because Raw Power is like Raw Power.
Yeah, yeah. You know what? Maybe it's just one of those things where like I've heard it so much that I'm digging on something else right now.
All right, on.
I mean, "Smells Like Teen Spirit" is clearly an amazing song, but you hear it so much that it's like walking through like the mall or at this point. Like that song kicks ass,
Right. It
and
does.
it's amazing.
Yeah.
But at some point, like it's been ruined by so much like
Yeah.
over listening. So I mean, "Raw Power" is the shit.
Right.
TVR, all the songs like. Maybe I just need to take a break, wean myself back off of it, get my tolerance level back down, so when I put it back on again, I'll get all juiced up about it.
Yeah, but yeah, I never thought of putting the Stooges as in that, but definitely, yeah, the Stooges definitely kicked some ass. Like,
Yeah, man, the Stooges out of that scene with like like they were like the MC5's little brother band, and
yeah.
like
Ooh, speaking of another great band.
oh man, MC5.
wow.
You get into that like genre or that era of music. You also get into like Thin Lizzy. You get into T-Rex. You get into a
Yeah.
lot of really good stuff. I mean,
Yeah,
I have
man.
no idea what a Jeepster is, but I want to be a Jeepster for some girl. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just need that love. Where's my Dane at right now, where I can just fall in love with some European import? That's all I'm looking for, right?
Speaking of which, have you heard of this band called Ghost?
Yeah, yeah, and they
You
dress
have.
up like
The
the
Pope.
ministry, and yeah.
Yeah.
Those guys throw down, man. I've seen
Yeah.
some live footage. I've never seen them play, but
Well, yeah, I mean, it's pretty heavy, but I think you'll dig it because it's like it's really from the 70s.
yeah,
70s/80s, and like brought to the next level.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
And-
it is from what I've seen, they throw a hell of a show.
Yeah.
And for the few tracks that I've heard, I mean, it's got the beat.
I mean,
man.
if you're in a Thin Lizzy, if you're in,
yeah, I'm breathing.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think Phil Lynot's cool. I've got ears that work.
Dude, I mean, seriously, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's got a shiny
And
pick.
you have eyes, like,
Yeah.
look at that guy.
It's
Like,
he's
on stage,
sexy,
like,
and he
fucking
kills it.
badass.
Oh man, and people only know like so little of like their, that's other people always think Thin Lizzy's like The Boys Are Back in Town or Jailbreak, but like my favorite Thin Lizzy songs are like Chinatown and The
Hell
Rocker.
yeah,
I
man.
mean, even songs like Still in Love
Rocker.
with You, this
Oh,
8.5
man.
minute long version with
You know
dueling
what's one of my
solos.
all-time favorite songs ever is the Cowboy song.
The Cowboy song. It's so
Yeah,
good.
dude.
I used to
That's
play
like-
the Cowboy song and the Rocker back to back.
Dude.
And like just leave it as like a track.
That's like my song. I like close my eyes and I listen to that song and I'm like, dude.
Oh, it's so
that's
good.
me.
Their version of Whiskey in a Jar is
Oh,
so good.
hell yeah, there you go. There you
Oh, it's so good.
go. Dude, you're into some good shit, man.
I mean,
Yeah.
I like music. I've been listening to a lot of it for a long time.
You know what I got into recently again? When I was a kid, my brother gave me this record that I just listened to for all the time. It was a Grand Funk Railroad.
Yeah.
Have you ever gotten into
I
that?
got Grand Funk Railroad live record in
Yeah,
my
that's the
record collection
one.
right now. It's like black and white and it's got red
That's the
writing on
one.
it. That's the one.
That's
Yeah,
the
man. It's
one,
out the
dude.
dollar bin at the record store. It's so
Dude.
good.
Yeah, dude. They fucking are awesome.
Oh yeah.
If you haven't gotten into them, and if you're into rock and roll,
You need to find some Grand Funk.
yeah,
And I remember picking it up thinking like this is gonna be a funk band. And I put it on and like it took
No
the place
shit.
of like my Wishbone Ash record. And I was just like, holy shit,
yeah, dude.
this is rock and roll.
Dude, they're legit, man.
Yeah, and like there's other bands in that same vein, like Mountain. I don't think people give them nearly
I
enough
haven't-
credit.
I haven't
They
heard
their
them.
big hit is Mississippi Queen.
Oh,
But like they
so
have
they're
a
the ones
whole litany
saying
of
that.
records, and you put it on. It's kind of like AC/DC. You've heard it for 3 seconds, you know their entire catalog, and all of it is good.
Right on, right on.
Like Mississippi Queen is 5 minutes out of 4.5, 9, 5, 6, 7 hours of shit that sounds like
No
that.
shit.
And it's
Mountain.
fucking amazing. Mountain.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Check
have to
that
take
out.
your recommendation seriously.
Check it out, man. It's really good.
Right on, right on.
Yeah.
Speaking of AC/DC, did you ever get to see him with Brian Johnson?
No, I never got to see AC/DC with Brian Johnson. I'm a little bummed out about that. There's a couple bands.
Do you go to a lot of shows?
Yeah, I go to a lot of shows. I
Right
feel
on.
like it's good to be involved. Like, Queens of the Stone Age and
They
Royal
just
Blood
played.
just played last night.
Fuck,
And
did you see it?
I didn't go. I've
I
got
didn't
this.
go
I've got
either.
this problem with Queens of the Stone Age right now, man.
Yeah.
And the problem is side 1, track 1 off their new record. I heard it and listened to it like 5 times. I felt like I'm supposed to think this is good. Never in my life have I anticipated an album more than that.
Yeah. You're not down with it.
I just didn't dig it, man. Like, I get it. Like, it is not my place to tell them, like, artistically, you
What's
failed.
the first song?
I don't even know. It's this. I don't know, man. Like,
I
I
don't know.
can't even remember the name of
liked-
it. I've
I know
tried
I
to strike
liked
it
the
from my record.
I know I
My
liked-
memory.
Just the first song.
I guess so. I haven't listened to anything else off the album.
Really?
Like,
Ah.
I saw them a couple months ago at Dave Grohl's birthday party. They played. And I could tell what was new and what was old. And for what it's worth, like, my favorite Queens records are that trio with Dave Grohl and Mark Lanigan. Like, that shit is
Yeah. That is
hot fire, you know?
Yeah.
What's it? Radar, Lullabies to Paralyze, and Songs to the Deaf. I think those are the 3.
There you
Or
go.
maybe one of them's Era Vulgaris. But anyway, like,
Yeah.
that shit is awesome. Hanging Tree,
My
God.
gosh.
Is in the Radio, Songs for the Deaf, a feel
I
good hit of the
remember
summer, No
right-
One Knows. Oh, God.
I remember seeing him in Coachella
Okay.
right when Songs for the Deaf came out,
Okay.
and I was on mushrooms,
Nice.
dude.
I'm
that was
sure.
like a life-shaping event. Right
Oh,
there,
yeah.
dude. Like,
Oh, yeah. I think the
Yeah.
last time I went to a show on mushrooms and had my mind blown was at this show called Orlando Calling. It was dual headliners, the Raconteurs and the Pixies.
oh, the Raconteurs.
And, like, I was on a lot of drugs, mushrooms being the most kind one to say. And, fuck, man. Like, I will admit, I went into that show feeling like I'd figured Jack White out because I had seen the White Stripes and
Yeah.
I got it.
Yeah.
And
This is
I had
different,
not
though.
dug it. I went for the Pixies. And then the Raconteurs came
Dude,
out.
they
And by
rock,
the
man.
second song,
They
I was
rock.
like, holy fuck. I didn't get
And
it at all.
That other guitar player, singer,
Brandon.
he rocks.
Oh, dude, he's so good. He was high as shit
sings
at this
so well,
show.
dude. Yeah, really.
Yeah, they have this song together.
Uh,
And he missed his downbeat like 3 times, and it's because he had his guitar like the volume turned down, and he went for it a few
man.
times, but he was just nodding off and forgot to turn his guitar back up. I don't care, man. They killed it. It was so good.
really?
Yeah.
But I love his voice, man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and like the way they sing together,
Oh yeah.
they sound awesome together.
Oh, it's amazing. Their bass player's the shit too. That guy with the really long straight hair. He was also, I think, in Dead Winter or something like that.
Dead Weather.
Dead Weather. Yeah. I knew I was off. That's why I said
Yeah,
something like
yeah,
that. I knew I was
yeah.
missing it, and I tried
But
to
they're
act too
good
cool.
too. Have you checked them out?
Yeah. Like I
Yeah.
haven't seen him live or anything, but like
Their records are good.
the
They got some
records are
some
good. He's got a
songs.
good aesthetic, man. I mean, he's really well put together. I know that
Yeah.
there's an element of Jack White that is show.
Yeah.
Like I get that he's like playing a character on TV, but I'm okay with it. 'cause
Yeah,
I
'cause
dig
it
the
works.
shit out of that character.
Me too, man.
Did you ever see the movie It Might Get Loud?
I did definitely.
Yeah. Jack White was so good in that.
Yeah. And the thing about Jack White is he he translates to the mainstream.
Oh yeah.
You
I don't know how
for
he
a
does.
rocker.
Yeah.
I
Like
don't
he
know.
takes all this like weird. He takes this stuff that normally wouldn't be cool, and he makes
Right.
it cool. Like
Yeah.
stuff that people like wouldn't take the time to really get into. Like I've seen him do like banjo stuff and like him get into some like real mountain music and shit. And people like they would never discover it. They laugh at you for
Yeah,
hearing
yeah.
it. Jack White does it. All of a sudden,
Right.
everybody's got the T-shirt and the
Right.
record, and they've been digging it their whole life. Like shut up, you didn't know what that
Damn.
was. You don't
Man,
got
I
any
wish
stains
you
on that
could
T-shirt.
Bottle that shit and buy it, dude.
Oh, I
Whatever.
wish one of these days I'm gonna make it out to Third Man Records, his shop. I really
that's
want to
a-
make it out there.
Yeah, right. They press records.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
So he's got a Jack White and also this guy Martin Atkins in Chicago, who's the drummer for Public Image Limited, who has this amazing book called Tour Smart, and also the little short version, which is like my Bible. It's called Welcome to the Music Business. You're fucked. They have these storefronts, and it's like a place where you can go in and buy records, and then they press records, and in the back is like a live music venue. And that's just everything. That's Third Man in Nashville, and in Chicago, it's called Invisible
Right,
Records.
right.
And I think I might be wrong. I've been telling the story the whole time, so maybe the lie has become the truth. Who knows? But like, I think Invisible Records also has like an old hotel behind it that he bought, so all the people that work there
Whoa.
can just like walk to work.
Whoa.
Yeah. Now that's pretty.
Wow, that's
awesome.
the dream right
Yeah.
there for.
Like in the
Wow.
basement's the recording studio, main floor is the store, third floor is where you press the records, and in the back's a live venue.
Damn.
Like,
What a
why
life.
the hell are you ever leaving town?
In Nashville.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
It's in
yeah.
Nashville.
And yeah, man. And he's doing like weird stuff too. Jack White's also got he's got like a little booth where you can go in and record.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
And
that
you make
makes
like
a record right
yeah,
then and there.
it
It's
like
a-
cuts the record to acetate in front of you,
That's pretty.
and then you like it
That's
pops
pretty
out
cool.
like one of those photo booths where you go at like the bar where it pops out the 4 in a row. Instead of getting a photo, you get
It's
this
a
like really
record.
shitty sounding record, and it's
Damn,
like.
it's crazy. Have you ever printed records for your band?
Yeah, Dirty Cakes haven't made any vinyl, but my band before that
Oh,
had.
right on.
I was in
Cool.
a band before that called the Unit Shifters, and some of the early Cake songs are just Unit Shifters songs we played over.
All right.
But yeah, I've got a
Is that your band from Orlando?
yeah, that's the band from Orlando, and there's a box somewhere with a couple dozen vinyl records that nobody ever bought, but whatever, I got them. I made them. It was cool.
Right on.
I went to the same place to make them. I went to this place, United Records Pressing, which I recommend everybody check out.
Yeah.
But they made the Beatles records, they made Elvis's records, and they'll
Oh,
make you
shit.
records too.
Right on.
Yeah.
Are they out of Nashville too?
They are out of Nashville.
Yeah, because I know like most of them are made in Nashville. just,
Yeah.
like, and
And so
there's only a
United
few
Records, yeah, there's only a couple
factories.
left. And these guys are just going around the world buying up all the equipment it takes to make a record.
Right.
So when their stuff breaks, they just have a warehouse full of broken parts they can steal from. It's like a
so
junkyard.
I think there's only like a few places in the world that makes records. Like I think it's Nashville and Japan.
Yeah, it's only like 3 or 4 spots. And
Yeah.
in Nashville, there's like 3 companies. So like half of the world's records are printed on like one street in Nashville.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
It's like going to like, a strip where there's like car dealerships all up and down the road, but instead these fuckers are printing vinyl.
yeah, that's crazy. I mean, but vinyl is getting big again. I started buying records. and
Yeah.
I started.
Vinyl's doing great. You know what I will say is an upside? Best Buy's vinyl selection has gotten bigger and bigger. And last week they announced they were going to stop selling CDs.
Whoa, that's
yeah.
crazy.
Now there's a little just whatever it's worth to you.
Yeah.
That's something to think about.
Yeah.
Best Buy. I remember I used to buy my CDs at Best Buy.
Me too. That's the best
Like,
place.
oh, it was great.
before.
Like I remember I got Judas Priest screaming for vengeance in the $5 bin at the Best Buy.
What?
And like it blew my mind. I was in like 7th or
Now
8th
you
grade.
could- that would be like a $25 record.
Oh,
right
yeah.
there. At least.
Oh yeah, man! Like that was so great. I mean, the one thing I'd just say that was really great about CDs is, I don't know if you ever remember this thing, BMG or CD or like Columbia House, where
Right,
you could
those-
tape a penny to a postcard and get 13 CDs sent
For
to your house.
free.
And I got like the entire Beastie Boys catalog, like everything from
I
Rush.
remember that,
And
yeah.
like I got all these bands
Columbia House,
catalogs
dude.
from Columbia House under
Yeah.
false names, like delivered to my parents' house. And I was like
Yeah.
12 years old.
Apparently, a lot of bands got. That was like the start of the bands getting fucked over. is
No,
Columbia
yeah,
House.
probably that, and then like the next summer, Napster came out.
Yeah,
and then
exactly.
What happened was everybody that was really good, their record sales went through the roof, and everybody that was garbage couldn't sell a record ever anymore. Like I remember
Yeah.
Napster, the end result of Napster, Jimi Hendrix's records sold like 25% more after Napster came out.
Really?
Because people
Whoa.
found it, they dug it, and they bought it.
Damn.
And then a bunch of records, like it used to be, like if you were on MTV, you were gonna sell like 10 million records or something like that. But once Napster came out, if you were shit, nobody would buy it. They'd take your one good song, they'd steal it,
Yeah.
and then they wouldn't buy it. Because back in like the late 90s, you'd have an album, you'd have like a CD, it'd be like 110 minutes long. 5 minutes of it had a music video on MTV. It was good. There might be 2 other cuts on it, and then 74 minutes of garbage. And you still
Right.
had to pay. And the CD costs the same whether it's 5 minutes of audio or like
they used to
an
cost
hour.
almost up to like $20.
Yeah.
In the 90s, I remember.
Yeah. And you can
being
charge. You can
in
either
high
charge
school.
$3 for a single or $20 for a full length record. Like, why not charge $20 for a full length record? Just put a single on it and then
Yeah, yeah.
filler on the rest of it. That
Yeah.
you know.
That was getting pretty bad at the.
Oh man, people are abusing it.
So yeah, but people were like getting like full on careers out of that. You know?
Oh,
like,
yeah,
just, like,
man.
one good song out of.
Oh
like-
yeah, like there's a reason Three Doors Down is still relevant, man. Like, 'cause they had the one track, you know. And then I think
Holy
they played
crap.
like the inauguration party or something like that last year.
No shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. But yeah, I mean, but now it's completely different.
Yeah.
For better, for worse, and you guys are in it.
Well, yeah, we're trying, man. You know, like the way that we look at records, the way the band's ethos is. You know, a lot of people go out and like they'll make a whole record, right?
Yeah.
Like they'll record like an hour, something 60, 70 minutes, record it, put it all on a CD and try to sell it. Here's my problems with that. If I have to know 3 problems. First off, I don't even own anything that plays a CD besides some Xbox I got on Black Friday for $49.99 with a $50 gift card.
Right.
Number 2, I never make it to track 4. You know what I'm saying? If track
Yeah.
1 is garbage, the rest of it is going out the fucking window.
Yeah. Yeah.
Number
that's for
3,
sure.
like my attention span is total shit. Like, like if I like a couple of the tracks, like I might dig the band. I still can't listen to it for that long. Like you're gonna maybe get 30 or 40 minutes out of me tops, which means I'm never gonna listen to the full length record.
So you don't listen to records anymore?
I mean, I do, but the records that I listen to are like actual records, and so there's a physical limitation on a 12-inch vinyl record.
45 minutes,
Yeah. So the issue is
plus or minus.
Yeah, plus or minus. So the issue is after 18 and a half minutes, you sacrifice bass response. After 22 minutes, you sacrifice treble in order to get the grooves close enough together. So at 33 and
I
a
see.
third, that you can fit more time. So that's why old records are 36 to 45 minutes long.
Right.
And so like
There
my
you go.
brain was programmed. Plus, like back in the day with like good cassettes that my dad would have,
Yeah.
like they had the same thing. And it was because that was how long the record is. Why put more tape in it? You know. But CDs were much longer. CDs
Yeah.
had to be 74 minutes long because the guy that owned Sony, the company that really like produced the CD, the guy that owned the company when they were making CDs, his favorite concerto was 73 and a half minutes long. So they had to make a CD long enough so that he wouldn't have to flip the record or put a new one on. So that's why it was 74 minutes, completely randomly. And then they bumped it up to like 80 or something.
Damn.
So when we're making records, and one of the things we're doing now, especially with this band, I mean, we recorded last year, we recorded a whole album. We like recorded the bare bones of it. And we're going back in and like having friends come in on top of it and do stuff. But we're
Right on.
releasing it like 1 or 2 tracks every like 6 to 8 weeks because every track is getting, you know, a month and a half worth of work on it. Every track's getting a music video. Every track's getting promotion through our Instagram, our Twitter account, coming out and doing stuff like
Yeah.
your show. Like everything that we're doing is getting individual attention.
Yeah.
Because up until Led Zeppelin, that's the way the music industry worked. Like
Singles.
before Led Zeppelin, you had singles, and all the best singles got put on an album. Led Zeppelin came out and said, fuck you, you're buying the whole thing, or you're buying nothing at all, and completely changed the music industry until Napster.
I see.
So we release songs a pair at a time, a side A and a side B. And that's just the way that we do it because and our songs are like 2 minutes and 2.5 minutes,
Yeah.
3-4 minutes tops. So
Right.
like if you have 6 minutes, you're gonna hear side A and side B and make a decision on whether or not like the room is divided. Like you either dig it or you don't dig it. And
Yeah.
that's cool.
Yeah.
But we're never gonna ask you like, oh, did you make it a minute and a half to like the good part of the fifth song? Like, fuck no. I would never ask you to do it.
Right on.
And I would never expect it from anybody because I sure as hell would never do it to anybody else.
Makes sense.
So
Yeah.
our shit is short, catchy, fun, and we bring it out in what I think the kids are calling snackable material.
Yeah, and especially speaking of the kids, people these days have shit for attention spans.
Oh yeah, man. I'm
It's
ADD
like-
as fuck. I've done a lot of drugs. Like I can't pay attention for more than 2.5 minutes.
Yeah.
Like
and-
when people are like, "Oh man," but 3 minutes into it, the song gets really good. I don't care. Start the song at 3 minutes. Phil Anselmo from Pantera once said,
I
"Just
started
make the
getting into-
whole song the money riff." So like our song "Resist," which is I think the last record we put, it was our last single, which is like the "Resist Trump" or that song starts
yeah, I
with
heard
the
that.
money riff. It starts off with the fucking hook. And then it
Yeah.
goes into a big scream. The only time we don't have the money riff is like this breakdown with big guitar chords and drum fill, and we're saying something. And then it just goes back to the money riff again.
Right on.
Like our
Yeah.
entire set is like that. There's no spot where like you have to wait. We have like one song. Our finale is like a 2-minute song that then has this long, like this slow, long, big breakdown that sounds, like it's coming from like God Is in the Radio from Queens of the Stone Age or stuff from like ELO, or like you have the record and then it goes into that second part where like you can just put the headphones on.
Yeah, it goes
and like
trippy.
you can like let the drugs kick in and enjoy the next 5 minutes.
Right on. Dazed Confused.
Yeah, and we like that because at the end of the show, that means that I can kick over the mic stand and there's literally nothing between the audience and me. Half the time I'll jump off the stage and play in front of people, and like that's the way to end the show. Like I don't care. Nobody cares about what the
Yeah.
hell I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's lyrics and rock and roll. Like I
Yeah.
mean, it's got to, the groove has got to be catchy enough again for the girls to dig, and something that the boys can get along to. And if the end of your show is kicking shit over and setting stuff on fire, then man, you are gonna have a damn good time.
Right on. Speaking of shows, so you guys play a lot?
Yeah, we just had a show 2 nights ago out in La Puente, which is way
Yeah.
and we got another show in like 2 weeks in the Valley and out in like North Hills, and then
Right
a
on.
show a couple weeks after that in Tarzana. A couple weeks after that, we're playing downtown. We try to play like every 2 or 3 weeks. We try not to play within 5 miles of each other of the last gig.
Yeah.
For like 6-7 weeks. So like it's
So
important.
where's the next spots?
So March 3rd is at White Oak. March 22nd is at Maui Sugar Mill Saloon, which is our favorite venue in the Valley. Like if you don't know about Maui Sugar Mill Saloon, you got to get down there.
Where's it at?
It's on Tarzan. It's like Reseda Boulevard and like Ventura or something like that. It's like it's out that way.
Yeah.
And it's got wood paneling, and they got like fancy glasses. The shows are free, 2-drink minimum, and they have punk rock legends there all the time with a velvet painting of Dave Grohl on it. And half the time you go in there, you might like that's where the guys that live out there, like the rich
Yeah.
rock and rollers that don't live in Beverly Hills, all live out like Studio
Right,
City,
right,
Tarzana
right,
area.
right.
That's their little hole in the wall niche bar. So anytime I go in there, like you got half a mind to run into somebody. Plus, the people are there are really cool because it's a punk rock bar, dressed up all fancy. So during the day, like we've
So
gone.
when's that?
That is March 22nd. So it's a Thursday night. It's the locals only show, and we're on at like 10 o'clock or something like that. But the shows are always free. And
sweet.
Yeah, and they got a big ass parking lot. And
So
you
it's
can,
all punk rock. there.
it's almost always all punk rock or like rockabilly and stuff like that.
Oh, right on.
So it's
Sugar Mill.
yeah, Maui Sugar Mill Saloon. And they got like a diner that delivers there that's like next door, so you can order food into it. You can do drugs out in the parking lot. They got a pool table, and like I mean, the sound in there is really good. The people are really, really good. And there's a bar exactly like that downtown called the Redwood. And the Redwood bar is exactly like Maui Sugar Mill Saloon, but instead of being like a Western saloon style, it's like the inside of a pirate ship. Like they
Whoa.
got like cargo nets and shit. Same vibe. The wood paneling, great fucking people that are there regardless of whether there's a show or not. they don't have any volume constriction, so you get as loud as you want, and they'll have any show under the sun in there, and it's always good. One thing I like
When are you
about those
playing there?
places, that is
That's the next one after
April
that one?
12th
Okay.
at the Redwood.
Redwood.
One thing I like about these spots is there's never a night where like they're hard up. So they'll only have good bands play. It's not like the Whiskey or the Viper Room or the Roxy where
Right.
people are paying to get in there
Right.
because of the name.
Yeah.
The guys booking those shows have really good taste in music. They're in bands themselves, and they don't
So-
let shit act on their stage.
So they're not in a pay to play.
Yeah,
or-
they don't even charge.
No shit.
Yeah, so it's like if you go there on any given night, it might not be the kind of music you like,
But it's gonna be good.
it's gonna be good shit.
For sure.
Like they never have the like coffee house open
So this
mic
Redwood,
nonsense.
it's all kinds.
Redwood's also all kinds. We just did a show there a couple weeks ago. It's called great local promoter. This guy is called Metal Assault. So it was like a heavy metal show.
Sweet.
We're not necessarily a heavy metal band, but we'll hang with anybody. And,
Yeah, pretty heavy.
Yeah,
But not metal.
No, like there was guys, like flipping their hair back, doing like tap work, and like throwing
right
it down.
on.
Like it was good. It wasn't
Right
our
on.
kind of thing, but it
Yeah,
was good.
yeah.
We were getting down. You know what I mean?
Yeah. My wife's here.
Nice. Just met your better half. Just walking in the door
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Nice to meet her. Yeah.
So yeah, we're just in my kitchen here.
Yeah, there we go. The illusion is
Chit-chat.
broken. Oh no. But yeah,
uh,
man, Maui Sugar Mill Saloon and the Redwood. Maui Sugar Mill Saloon, #1 venue in San Fernando Valley. Redwood, #1 venue in downtown. There are a couple runners up.
Yeah.
But like those are the spots where any night of the week you go, you're gonna see something you dig. And at most, maybe they're having a charity show and it costs you $5 or something like that. Like last weekend, some guy's apartment burned down. So they had an all-day barbecue fundraiser, like suggested donation, $5-10. I had like 3-4 pulled pork sandwiches. Mike Watt came out and played, the bass player from like the
What?
Stooges. He came up to support. Like
what?
that was like a Sunday afternoon. You know what I'm saying? Like it was like
That's the one in Sugar Mill.
that's Maui Sugar Mill. That's the kind of thing you
right
see
on.
there at 4:00 in the afternoon on a Sunday. Imagine what a Friday night is like.
Right on, man.
Yeah, you can
Definitely
get like Joe
gotta check
Bonamassa
out.
down there. Chevy Metal plays there all the time. Like,
Right on, Chevy Metal. man.
yeah, man, like it's really good. It's a really good spot. And if you got to go further out toward like,
Do they have open jams there?
They don't. I think they don't. Oh no, wait. I think they do. I think they have an open jam. I think there's like a blues open jam, and they got an open mic night on like Tuesday nights from this guy that does called Soapbox Sessions. So it's not like completely open. Like you got to know the guy, kinda.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
you got to go and not suck. Like it's a cutting room. Like you can go up once and suck.
Yeah.
But if you suck, you're not going up a second time.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah.
And so like those cutting room type sessions are like my favorite things. You know, I mean, as a musician, I got started being the guy that was awful at open mic nights. Like, okay, I'll tell you a small story just because I love stories.
Right on. Go for it.
I started as a musician playing coffee shops and like heavy metal bars and stuff like that. And like there used to be this open mic night at this spot called the Haven Lounge. Now the Haven Lounge is this metal club that would regularly have, like new metal bands and like, like big acts would come through. Like that was a spot where like if you had black leather and like a good drug habit and dyed hair, you were gonna go have a good time.
Right on.
They had an open
spot.
right, yeah, totally. So they had an open mic nights on Tuesday night that was legendary because like if you were good, you could go on for like half an hour, 45 minutes, and they had full on bands play.
Yeah.
I got a residency, quote unquote, as the 1:15 in the morning guy. Now, I thought it was dope because they sold it to me as I was the headlining act every week at their Tuesday night open mic night. Now, the truth was
So were you were just playing
just playing a solo acoustic.
right on.
Now,
Okay.
the truth matter was I was so bad that they knew if they put me on at 1:15, by 1:45, everybody would have closed their tabs and left. So they never had to kick anybody out at 2:00 in the morning. The only people left there were the guys that were in the bands, the ones trying to trade drugs with the bartender, and the people on their social security card. So, like, after like 2 or 3 years of being horrible at that, they bumped me up to like, the 9
earlier
p.m.
time?
Yeah, I got an earlier time slot. But I had to do it by doing that. And like I loved it, and like I religiously was on it. I mean, I was
Yeah.
on house arrest for violating probation on drug charges from getting like my fourth DUI, and I had an ankle bracelet on, and I could
Oh
only go
man.
to and from work. And I told the court my work was being a musician, so I could only drive to and from the bar to go play music at 1:15 in the morning.
Right on.
Yeah,
man,
it was
right
great.
on, Right on.
Yeah, and
Dude, I
so
love how that that part of your life, dude, that's like rock and roll, straight up rock and roll part
Yeah.
of your life. Like having to go to court and explain that is my only source of income is going to the bar.
yeah. Sorry, I
Play
got
music.
a DUI and drug charges. I can only go to a drug den and drink beer and play rock and roll.
Exactly, dude.
It's the only time I'm allowed to leave the house.
That's straight
And
up
like they knew,
rock
like
and roll
if I
life
was
right
in the
there.
house after 2:30, the thing would go off, and like I couldn't leave before like 10 because the thing would go off. So I had to show up at the bar between 10:30 and
Wow.
leave by 2 a.m. to get back at
Damn,
home.
That's a serious device right there.
Yeah, yeah. Well, because if you're not like, like they plug in a thing into your wall in your house,
Uh-huh. Oh,
and then
you-
if you're not, and if it pings the thing and it doesn't, and the ankle bracelet doesn't go off,
That means you're far away
too
from
far
it.
away, and the cops can send to your house. So yeah, so all I could do all day, I was stuck in my house, and I had a studio, so I was stuck in my house making records,
Sweet.
maybe making some money through alternative means, illegal or not. And then at night, go out and play shows, and that was the only thing I was allowed
That
to
was
do.
in Orlando.
That was in Orlando, yeah.
Right on.
Specifically, Winter Park, Florida, the suburb of Orlando. God bless those people.
Right on. Are you originally from there?
No, I'm a military brat, but I grew up mainly in Northern Virginia, right outside of Washington D.C. But I went down to Orlando to go to college, and I picked up drug habits and girlfriends, and then got stuck.
Is that where you got into rock and roll too? Or?
I mean, that's where I got my first bands, like my first big bands. I've been in rock and roll my whole life, you know, like my
Since a
dad.
child.
Yeah, like I don't remember before rock and roll, you know,
Perfect.
like
Right on.
that's just what it is, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
There wasn't like some point in time in 8th grade where somebody's like, "Hey, yo, have you seen this?"
Right.
I mean, it did happen, but like, so when I was a kid, my dad never let me listen to anything after 1967. Like, it was not okay. I wasn't allowed
really?
to do
So
it.
he was a music buff.
He was a music buff, but he was also kind of a religious nut. So like I wasn't allowed to get into Jimi Hendrix because it was like Satan. The only thing outside of before 1967 I was allowed to listen to was like Fleetwood Mac and Dire Straits, because those are the cassettes that he had in his car. But I grew up on like
Wait, that's great bands
Oh,
right there.
great
though.
bands, absolutely. But I grew up on like the doo-wop cassette record, the thing from Shell gas station of the swinging 60s, like surf rock sounds, and
Oh,
like
sick.
Creedence. And that was the only thing I could listen to until I was old enough to rebel and buy my own records. And I think the first cassette I ever bought was Beastie Boys' License to Ill, and my dad found it and threw it in a fire. And then like in like 7th grade, I made a friend. I went to an alternative school for troubled children by the time I was in 7th grade. And my best friend, this guy Chris at the time, his older brother had all these records, and he stole like the M section from his CD collection. So it was like Megadeth and Motorhead and Meatloaf.
I always loved looking through the M section. There's some good bands.
There's really good bands in the M section.
Metallica.
Yeah. So it was like Bat Out of Hell and like Hidden Treasures, and like it was all the records that were good enough for him to burn, but not good enough for him to keep in his car. So it was all like the B-sides and the throwaway records in the M section. And that's when the first time I really got into music outside of that, until 9th grade when Napster came along. And then I was able to get completely into like Nirvana and the Melvins and like all
Hell
sorts
yeah,
of
the
other
Melvins.
stuff.
You like the Melvins? That's
Yeah,
dope.
I would say out of all the bands that I've seen,
You've seen the Melvins?
I've seen the Melvins, the Foo Fighters, and the Queens of the Stone Age 5 times a piece. And those are the only bands
Yeah.
I've seen more than twice.
Wow.
And
Well, they're fucking amazing.
They were amazing. Actually, I have to throw in, I think I now can throw in, no, the Pixies I've seen 4 times. So they're close. I saw them twice last year. So that kind of helps.
Right on.
Saw them at the Ace Theater, which was amazing. And then I saw them at the what is it? The Palladium. and their opening act blew him out of the water. Their opening act was Eagles of Death Metal, and dude was sober, and he fucking crushed it.
Dude, Eagles of Death Metal.
Oh man,
Fucking kick ass.
it was so good. Dave Catching on guitar, like I mean, it was
right,
amazing.
Right, especially like after the whole like Paris.
Yeah,
thing.
absolutely.
They're like fucking kicking so much ass.
Oh,
Right now,
yeah.
dude.
And you know, all things aside of like how that's just a nice extra stream of income for Josh Homme, like that band is amazing.
Yeah.
So like, you make
The
records.
story of that band too. Is
Oh, yeah.
fucking cool. Like,
So
what's his
good.
name?
Boots Electric.
Boots Electric.
Yeah, Jesse Hughes.
His fucking
he will
story.
accept your friend request on Facebook if you can find the real one almost all the time, especially if there's a cute girl in your picture.
Right
I've been
on.
friends with him on Facebook for like 3 years. He doesn't know who the hell I am, but like I know what's going on in his life.
Right on. But yeah, I mean his story, like fucking what a wild story.
Oh yeah.
And like he's like so proud of being into meth too, which is weird.
Yeah,
That's
he's
funny
got
to say.
he's got some alternative values. You know what I'm saying?
But yeah, I mean he's straight up rock and roll without a hilt to it. You know, it's like
yeah, there's
110% rock and roll.
yeah,
guy.
he's got way more gumption than talent, and God bless him for it, man. That's
Yeah.
the way I like most of my shit, man. Like
right on, dude.
like Cherry Cola. There's nothing fancy about that
Yeah,
song,
yeah.
except 10 seconds into it, you're like, "Fuck yeah, I'll sell everything. Let's do this."
Yeah, man. Love that shit.
It's so good.
And which was the band that you said? The Melvins.
The Melvins, King Buzzo,
Yeah, dude.
personal hero of mine.
Me too, man.
I love the Melvins. Like, I didn't really know it. I found out about the Melvins because it got way deep into the Nirvana, like backstory and stuff. And like Kurt Cobain, quote unquote, used to roadie for the Melvins,
Right.
But he was way too fucking small to carry anything. He like tuned a guitar once, and then it went down in folklore that he was like their
but
roadie.
yeah, I mean, some of the best fucking unknown records are Melvins
Oh yeah, like
records.
Stoner Witch from the Melvins
Fuck
is
yeah,
so
dude.
good.
There's
They're
this-
about to go back out on tour too.
yeah,
man.
they got a new record.
Yeah. I saw twice I've seen the Melvins with two drummers.
Right.
And so they got like the normal drum and then they get a lefty. And so the drum kits are
And
like
then they
mirror
play
images.
together like simultaneously. Like,
Oh, dude, it's amazing.
completely the
I saw 'em
same
at the-
thing. Like,
Oh, dude, it's so good. I saw him at the Troubadour last year. And like I was up front because nobody really knew what the hell was going on. It was
Yeah.
like them and I forgot who was opening for him, but like it was like a very like it was a really weird lineup. And it was fucking amazing.
Yeah.
And I love like half of my guitar rig right now. I play through 2 amps at once. I do a wet dry rig,
Oh,
which I
cool.
can get into some super technical shit.
Right
but
on.
like, don't need to get there. Basically, my fuzz goes into one channel,
Uh-huh.
and then like all my like time-based trippy shit goes into another amplifier, and they run at the same time.
right on.
And that's just the way that I run it. But my fuzz amp is a Sun Beta bass, which
It's
is
a
the
solid
amp,
state amp.
the solid state amp,
That uses-
indestructible, and it's been King Buzzo's weapon of choice since like 1988.
So where'd you find one of those?
I found one on Reverb,
right on.
and
man.
you can find them occasionally on Craigslist. Like,
How does it sound?
oh, it's the shit, dude.
So is it a clean amp that you put a pedal through, or
yeah,
is it,
yeah,
is it loud, or is it
can
dirty?
get dirty.
Oh,
But
okay.
I run it. It's got
With a
two.
pedal.
Yeah, I run it with pedals.
Right on.
But it's got 2 channels that run at the same time, and so it's got an A and a B, and then it's got this third jack where you can plug in and you run both of them. So what I run is I make one channel like the bass channel. I think of it as like an EQ, basically like a bass and treble. So I put a lot of gain on the treble side, so that it's like a really biting, like crunchy sound. And then I run the bass end more clean, so it doesn't get all flubby and there's a lot of
Oh,
low
cool.
end. And then I put my fuzz into it, and with a good, nice like tube
So-
amp running my mods, it's like the mouth of God
Wow.
or Satan, whatever. It's fantastic.
Right on, man. So how does a fuzz pedal run through a solid state amp? How does it sound?
It depends on the fuzz. It depends on the amplifier. I've been blessed that like the rig that I had before I got that amp, it worked.
Oh, nice.
Like my main fuzz pedal right now was a gift from my buddy Ernie C from Body Count. He gave it to me.
Body count. I
Yeah.
haven't heard that name in
Dude,
forever.
they're on their second new record. They're phenomenal. You should really check out the record that just came out last
Body
year.
Count. That's Ice-T's.
Ice-T speed metal band. Yeah.
Yeah.
The 60-year-old Ice-T, his new record, speed metal band that he started in middle school with his buddy
Yeah.
Ernie C. They got a new one. The first track is called "No Lives Matter." It's phenomenal. The lead guitar player I just happened to know him through like the Grammy Academy. We both work with Music Cares, trying to help other musicians get, through like some help and shit.
Yeah.
And anyway, like their new record's amazing, and they've got all these guest guys from like Mastodon and Megadeth. Like it's
What?
fantastic. They played the Grammys. They played the Grammy pre-party. Body Count, the band, Too Dangerous, banned from the Sunset Strip, banned from MTV, but they'll play their videos on VH1, which is hilarious. And like they played the Grammys, and like they were at one point in time the most dangerous band on earth because they had the song "Fuck the Police." No, Cop Killer. Sorry,
Yeah.
that's another band. So thank you for keeping me honest there. I got that one wrong. That's embarrassing. But yeah, so anyway, Ernie C gave me this pedal. That he had gotten a gift from some other really big. I'm not gonna get into the whole like I'm cool because I'm in Los Angeles. These are just people that are around. You live in LA long enough, like you're gonna meet people.
Yeah.
But I got this
sure.
pedal called the Hoof from Earthquaker.
Oh.
And it's got a
was looking
silicon
into that.
and germanium fuzz in it, and it's got a knob in it where you can
blend.
do
You can-
more. You can blend between the two,
Sweet.
so you can really adjust that for like your amps.
Yeah, I've
because
been looking into that
any
pedal.
pedal you plug into any amplifier with any guitar is gonna always sound different. So like
Exactly.
when you go online and you're like looking like how does this pedal sound, and then you get it and it sounds different.
Because
It's because the guy online
you're-
was playing like a Stratocaster through a Fender, and you got a Les Paul going to a Marshall. It's gonna sound different.
Right. Exactly.
Like, I mean,
completely.
A
different.
completely different sound. So for me,
Yeah.
I play.
You got like a hollow body, right?
Yeah, my main guitar is this Fender Coronado that was another gift from another guy. My buddy Greg Hetson from Bad Religion gave it to me, and
Right on. I love Bad Religion. Man.
yeah, I don't
I
want
was
to
just listening. I was just thinking of that song.
fuck you. That's a good
Because
one.
I was just driving through the hills, and I was like, "Hills of Los Angeles are burning." Right?
Yeah,
That's-
I'm actually in a bowling league with Greg Hetson. I'm gonna go there after this.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
that's
the punk rock bowling league.
Right on.
Yeah,
That
we're
sounds
on
fucking
different
awesome,
teams.
dude.
My team beat his team last year, so I'm a little bit better than Greg Hetson. I'll put that on my. I'm
cool,
pretty happy
cool.
about that.
Right on.
He's got a great act right now. He's doing punk rock karaoke, which is rad. Him and like guys from Goldfinger and some other stuff. Like they play all the punk rock songs, and you can come on and like it's like live band karaoke with actual rock stars.
Whoa.
And
where's
it's pretty,
that at?
it's pretty rad. They do it all over. Like it's a touring band at this point. They've been doing it. He's been doing it for like 20 years, and it's been really picking up. But anyway, he gave me this Fender Coronado because I was really wanting to play a baritone guitar because I can't sing high notes, and so I've always down tuned my guitars. Queens of the Stone Age play in C,
Yeah.
so I put my guitar in C, and then I can drop tune it down to A sharp. Now, for people that don't quite understand music, if you can look at a piano. If you're playing a C, wherever most people are playing, you scoot 2 inches to the left, and that's where I'm playing. So
Yeah.
immediately my balls are a little bit bigger. I'm a little bit more aggressive. Everything sounds heavier and cooler,
Yeah.
no matter what. Plus, it's easier to sing. So I wanted a baritone guitar, which means that the neck is a little bit longer and it has a few more frets. So it's a
Sounds bigger.
It sounds bigger. Also, I
It's a
don't have
lower
it.
register. in
Right.
the
So I've also
music.
got this big hollow body guitar, so it registers the more vibration better. And in it, I've got these pickups called P rails from Seymour Duncan.
Oh, I got those too.
Yeah,
In that
they're-
SG right there.
Okay, yeah. No, I see them. There you go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And it's got
love
the
'em.
P90 and the hot rail in it, and it's got the
Yeah.
little like switch thing, so you can put them in phase, out of phase, or one or the other. I got the
Yeah.
triple shot.
Yeah.
So I got that.
Right on,
And that's my
right on.
big full body sound guitar. When we play venues that have sound reinforcement, when they mic the amps, that's the guitar I bring. When we play venues that don't mic the amplifiers and I
When
need
you gotta
to cut
blast
through,
it.
when I got to go through those kind of amps, I have this Dan Electro that oh man, I'm gonna drop some other whatever. Okay, so this guy Brendan McNichol, who is the slide guitar player on Radar and Songs for the Deaf and all sorts of
Oh,
stuff.
right on.
He
I love his
he's the
fucking
guy
playing.
that did the guitar solo for Resist. So if you listen to our song "Resist," it's got a slide guitar solo on it. It's Brendan McNichol, the guy that did the solo for like "No One Knows" and stuff like that, because he's a friend of my bass player. And he came down and was
Sweet.
like, "Oh, I'll do it. It's an anti-Trump song. I'll jump on it. Give me like 2 points on the record." I was like, "You want 2 points is $0? Sure." So he came down and gave us this damn electro that was used by the Queens, and then eventually had been like set on fire and kicked around and thrown in a dumpster. So anyway, we took that. And then my bass player fixed it up with baking soda and super glue. If you put baking soda and super glue together, it bubbles. It's like making a sandcastle. It'll drip down and form a hard bond plastic more solid than wood, and it fuses into the wood itself. So it makes this beaten up old guitar. You can put it back together, and it's stronger than when it was originally a tree.
Whoa.
And then we spray painted it black, and now I got this bitchin' Dano that looks like, you know.
Sick.
I mean, it's $100 guitar. It looks like $1,000 guitar, and it plays like fucking nonsense. And it's got these cheap lipstick, really bright pickups, and I put that down tune the guitar through really bass heavy amplifiers, with a really bright guitar sound. And man, the thing is huge. But that you play that at a venue that doesn't mic the amplifiers, and the guy in the back is gonna hear everything, which is fantastic.
Right on.
My drummer actually doesn't want me to play the hollow body anymore. He's like, "I love that Dano." And the thing is, the Dano also only weighs like 2.5 pounds, and that hollow body
'cause
weighs
it's not
like
made out of wood, right?
yeah. I mean, it's made out of like plywood and super glue, so the thing weighs fucking nothing.
Oh.
And my
I've
main
never actually played a Dano before.
they're tricky. They're not good. Like
They're not, right.
They're not very well done. But I mean, there's you know, there's like.
But Jimmy Page played
Yeah,
one.
Jimmy Page. My Dano's the one that Jimmy Page plays.
Oh, the black one with
the
the
black
white-
one. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly the
Nice.
guitar that I'm playing.
Nice.
But mine was also set on fire by the Queens of the Stone Age in some recording session that we fixed up with all the thing, and it got given to us as a gift. Just like, well, this is trash. Do you want it? We're like, yeah, sure, why not?
Well, whenever you're famous, dude, you're gonna be like, this guitar is like had such like.
Yeah,
fucking,
that's
you
the
know?
thing, man. Rock and roll is all about the story, right? It's about the
Yeah.
mythology.
Yeah.
Like, how cool is something? Like, everything is cool, but when you got the story behind it, like Led Zeppelin's cool, but the fact that they like at the Hyatt House, which is now the Andes like hotel next to like the comedy store. That was the old Riot House back in the 60s. They like had some like teenage girl and they were slapping her with like a shark. That is some story. Like Ozzy Osbourne, awesome. Black Sabbath is great. He bit the head off of a bat and threw it in the crowd.
Yeah.
Immediately so much cooler than that. The Beatles, super fun. John Lennon says they're bigger than Jesus. That's like there's stories, you know,
Yeah,
like the
man.
mythology of rock and roll is as
Yeah.
important as anything else.
Yeah,
so
that's
I like
true.
to
That's
have
very
all
true.
the gear that I have, all the stuff that I have, almost all of it's got some story behind it. So for instance, at the last show we played, my Sovtek MiG 50s caught fire. Now Sovtek is this amplifier.
Is that a head?
Yeah, it's a head. So it's a Russian head. Right after the fall of the Soviet Union, the company Electro Harmonics that makes
Yeah.
like the big muff.
You're right, right.
The guy that runs it, Mike Matthews, fell in love with this like Russian heiress, and they started making knockoff Electro Harmonics parts in Russia and then importing them at like a higher
So
price.
that's the story of the Russian
Yeah.
electro-harmonic shit.
Yeah, so the Russian electroharmonic shit, that's where it comes from. It's called Sovtek, and it's made out of old Soviet military parts. Well, the old Soviet military parts are not very reliable. I've had to fix this thing like 5 times in the last 10 years. And the thing finally set fire, and I've decided it's time to retire it. And I was like,
It's
having
a
this...
tube amp, right?
Yeah, it's a tube amp. And so in my decision to retire, I was like, what am I going to replace this with? Because it's a really beautiful... It's built off of like a Bassman 550, right? It sounds like a Fender Bassman 50. So I've been trying to think of what I'm going to replace it with. My bass player, Rick Mahalo, he's got an amplifier with a story behind it. And so he's got a Marshall dual super lead, the DSL.
Oh, nice.
Now it's a beautiful amplifier. Now, a Marshall dual super lead by itself, great. His $1,500 amplifier sounds amazing, right?
Yeah.
He got his because he went to Guitar Center one day to go pick up some strings or whatever, and this lady was in the parking lot, high as shit, trying to sell a whole bunch of amplifiers out of the back of her car. And she had this head that was like spray painted white with all the parts taken off of it and all the knobs like painted red with nail polish. And he happened to notice that on the like the compliance thing that are on the back where it says like CE and trademark and all that stuff, because any piece of electronic gear like has to like go through whatever.
Yeah.
It said Marshall on it, and he was like, "Oh shit, I know what that is." And he was like, "Hey, I'll give you $50." And she's like, "Fuck no, not $50." He's like, "Oh, she knows what this is. Like, I'm not gonna be able to sell it." And she came back and was like, $60. So we bought it for $60. Now, the backstory behind that is, the way that Marshall was modified with the white spray paint and the chicken head like knobs being painted red with fingernail polish is the way that Buckethead modifies his equipment. Now, 2 weeks before this had happened, Buckethead went to jail or prison for some crystal meth charges. He lives in Hollywood. He has a bunch of this equipment.
So you think
so
that's
2 weeks after he goes to prison, some methed out girls in the parking lot at the Guitar Center on Sunset Boulevard selling equipment that is to the T exactly modified the way it is. So I'm going to go ahead and say that my bass player for $60 picked up a dual super lead from Buckethead's like, cracked out girlfriend for $60.
Damn.
And I'm going to buy it off him for like $200-$300. Give him a profit for, you know. Because that's the repair cost on the Sovtech, and I don't feel like dealing with it. So I'm going to have a 100-watt Marshall head.
Buckethead.
I mean, that's the story, and I'm going to stick with it. And if Buckethead wants to come out and identify himself and prove me wrong, I'm okay with it. But there is no facts in the matter that are going to prove that wrong.
I mean, if he modifies his amps that way, I mean...
Yeah, like somebody would have to have been a super Buckethead nerd.
Fan.
And it didn't say Marshall on it. It said industrial on it. And like if you look at all of... Like it was either a super Buckethead fan or it was him.
Yeah.
And and I sincerely doubt...
And it's Hollywood, though.
And it's Hollywood.
Yeah, so...
And I sincerely doubt some methed out chick is going to have $1,000 amplifier, $2,000 amplifier.
From a fan of
Buckethead modified to the exact specs 2 weeks after he goes to prison.
That's a cool story, man.
So it's like, okay, I'll play that amplifier. Sure.
So your bass player has that one.
Yeah, it's sitting in his living room right now.
Cool.
So I'm going to bring that out to the White Oak show. I'm going to play that. That'll be my guitar. That'll be my wet channel amplifier. So that's gonna have like my pitch shifting.
So you play with like 2 half stacks live?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, I play with 2 half stacks. One on the left, one on the right. Because there's only one guitar player, and I'm not that good. Right. So you got to have a lot of effects and move a lot of air so nobody notices. You know, my rhythm section is really, really good. You know, Rick and Jamin are phenomenal musicians, and we grind our like they know their shit, and they're gonna show up and do their job. Which, if you have an amazing rhythm section, you basically don't need to do anything. Look at Nirvana, like you know, Chris Novoselic and Dave Grohl are amazing. Kurt didn't have to play in tune or even the same song, and the shit was amazing. So I have the same blessing, you know.
You're right. But yeah, Dave Grohl behind you, man, that's fucking crazy.
I mean, that'd be amazing. But I think you can rent his time for like $10,000 a session.
Well, what's your top 3 favorite drummers in rock and roll?
Okay, Keith Moon, Dave Grohl, and I mean those 2 for sure. I feel like I'm missing one, and you're like, dude, why aren't you saying John Bonham?
Exactly.
I was trying to think, is there somebody else? Like, no, that's it. That's exactly what it is.
There you go, man. Top 3 best singers.
Top 3 best singers. And I'll say each of the 3 in their style. Number 1, talented, overall, contextually magnificent talent, Bruce Dickinson.
Right on.
Nobody is more talented.
He
is
fucking
operatic
good,
and amazing. There's actually old footage of him on some game show doing Delilah by Tom Jones, and it's amazing.
Seriously, I gotta see that.
Yeah, and it's like some 70s game show kind of thing.
Kills it.
Oh, of course, it's amazing. Fuck. And then for visceral feeling, I don't think anybody is better than Chris Cornell. Like,
fuck yeah,
and then just for overall, and again, I know I already mentioned him once, and maybe it's rock and roll, maybe it isn't, but I don't think there's any better singer than Tom Waits. Like when you need an iconic voice that's gonna get something across, I don't care. Tom Waits could read me the fucking newspaper over some like weird ass beat, and I'll jam that shit at 43 or whatever the max setting on my, you know, Kia Soul EV stereo system goes. When it says volume max, I'll play that on loop.
And it'll just hit your soul every time.
Oh, man, every time. Every time. Yeah.
You ever get into Queen?
Oh yeah, of course. And the only reason I didn't say Freddie Mercury
Yeah.
was because I feel like Bruce Dickinson is a little bit more rock and roll. But I mean,
Yeah.
Freddie Mercury is so good. When they would record records,
Yeah.
Freddie Mercury wasn't, he would have to double track his voice several times because he would get it so perfect that it would knock the other original vocal out of phase. So, like,
It's so perfect.
it was so
yeah.
perfect that it would cancel each other out. So like
Wow, it'd be
phase
silent
issue,
then.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So phase issue, like when you see a wavelength, that is physically the speaker moving in and out. So when a wavelength goes up, that's the speaker moving out. When it goes down, it's the speaker moving in because the speaker moves back and
Right,
forth.
right.
So when he sings at the same time,
It
it was
was so
sometimes
perfectly
it was so
alike.
perfectly in tune that the speaker, one signal was having the speaker out and one speaker was having the speaker come in, and it would cancel each other out and be
Exactly.
silent.
Yeah.
That's how good Freddie Mercury is.
Exactly.
So he would have to like they would ask that he'd have to screw up to do doubles,
Wow.
which is fucking ridiculous.
Dude. You know a lot of shit.
I'm a nerd. Yeah.
You're a music nerd. Me too, man. But I think you're a little bit more nerdy than I.
I suggest you listen to Little Steven's Underground Garage and obsess over it.
Is that
It's a channel on Sirius, but you can get an app on your phone. And he does 2-hour-long shows where he plays really good music, and 3 or 4 times during
who's
the show.
that guy? Is
Little
he-
Steven's the guitar player from E Street Band, and he was also in
right.
like Sopranos and
Right,
Lilyhammer
right.
and stuff.
Yeah.
He's got a radio station
on
on Sirius, but you also
Right.
get
I
the
heard
app
about
for
that, yeah.
free. And he plays like 2-hour-long theme shows, and he breaks
Mm.
down the show, and in the meantime tells stories. And the stories are all fucking amazing. And I've been listening to it obsessively. And that,
Yeah,
and then like I
'cause-
have a lot of friends that are good guys, and like I've just surrounded myself with musicians, and I've always been the guy that like had older friends, and I've sort of tried to like latch on to like the really successful fallen stars kind of guys around me, and so like I just shoot the shit and lie with them, and I learned so much fucking shit.
Just
And
lie with
oh
it.
yeah, of course, man. Like, what's better than like grabbing a couple beers and telling lies and eventually learning a whole bunch of really good stories?
Right on. Yeah, yeah.
And that's how I've wasted my entire like last decade of my life.
Hey, but you're making records,
Yeah, man. I'm making fun,
making art,
kick-ass,
and
rock and roll, fun songs, and the capital of awesome in the world, planet Los Angeles.
Exactly.
And, you know, I'm just making 3-minute long records that are fun, heavy songs about drugs and fucking and trying to rid the world of some downtime, man. Why not just enjoy yourself?
So, you love it here since you moved here. What would you say?
Absolutely. I'm never leaving.
Yeah.
If this place could fall into the ocean, I'm going to get a snorkel kit.
Right on. So, did you ever get into like the 80s bands from out here? Like
Yeah, I've
Motley
gotten into
Crue
some
and
of them. I've tried to, like,
Van Halen.
Yeah. Like I've tried to get more into that, especially since coming out here. I got to see Van Halen live at the Hollywood Bowl. I mean, what is left of Van Halen? You know, it was Eddie and like his son on bass, and you know, and his brother on drums, and with Diamond on singing,
Right.
and it was great. Diamond Dave singing, and it was great. Like they clearly are really good. I wish. The 80s is one era in music that, like, for whatever reason, I didn't get into because I grew up in the 50s and 60s. And then, like, my buddy, I was talking about, his older brother had all this late 70s, and the only 80s was, like, speed metal. And then I found Napster and downloaded everything from, like, 91 to, like, 99. And then
Right
I,
on.
like, skipped over this period. Like, I didn't get to mature through it. So now I'm going back and trying to dig it.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, there's some great bands. You know, you got.
It's really produced, like especially
Yeah.
the good stuff. It's really produced, which is different from the '90s because they just went opposite that.
Yeah, so like I dug the stuff beforehand, and then I dug the stuff that was rebelling against it. So now I got to go back
Yeah.
and find that missing piece. And like, there's some '80s shit that I dig. Like I really dig like the '80s stuff from like Devo and you
Right
know
on.
Bow Wow Wow and stuff like that. And like, there's some really good stuff in there. But there's also a lot of garbage, and it's hard to wade through it. So
Yeah.
like I'm trying. I know that I'm ignorant to it, and like I'm making an effort to dig it. And if anybody knows anything, they want to send it my way, I'll be more than willing to listen to it. And like I've listened to the Husker Du and the Bauhaus and stuff like that, and like the Cure, and I get why people dig it. But maybe it's because like at the time that like I was really getting into that stuff or trying to get into it, it was because like There was Sunday night at the at the I Bar on Orange Avenue in Orlando, Florida. It was where all the mid-30 divorcees were going out and reliving the '80s heydays, and I would just go around
it
drinking
just left a bad taste. In
Oh
your
yeah,
mouth.
man! Like speaking of bad taste in the mouth, I was just sleeping with all these old 30-some-odd-year-old divorcees, going from like the '80s night at the club, and so like
Tasting like cigarettes and
yeah, so like when I think about it, it's all just like
cheap
2-for-1
booze.
well whiskeys and Marlboro Lights from like overweight divorced women in their 30s, and like God bless them for it, and I think everybody had a good time. I just can't dig the music like with an honest frame of mind.
There you go.
As much as I want to, it's just not what I'm going to put on when I'm trying to have a good time.
Right on, right on. But I mean, there's fucking a lot of shit from the '70s, that's for sure. I always
yeah.
say like '70s was just a fucking. They were just pooping crazy good music out.
Oh,
in
yeah.
the '70s, just like. I always say like you check out like a B movie from the '70s.
Oh yeah.
And you'll hear like the craziest music. You'd be like, "What the hell is this?"
Oh
funk?"
yeah, no,
Like,
absolutely. I'd
Yeah.
say the same thing with like the late '90s stuff. Like I got way into like outside of Nine Inch Nails, I got way into a lot of like Trent Reznor stuff from these weird '90s movies that had these crazy soundtracks, and it was all guys on Trent Reznor's record label. They were making all this really weird shit, and it was like, yeah, everybody knows Pretty Hate Machine and Downward Spiral, but there's this entire fucking planet of weird, awesome shit, and it's the same things you're talking about on the '70s,
Yeah.
but in '90s stuff too. Like, I think some of the best music you can find, like if you need to find some new shit, soundtracks. To like weird TV shows and movies,
Yeah.
because somebody's job is to just find the weird, good shit.
Yeah. And some of the old soundtracks. I mean, when I was growing up, soundtracks used to be some of the best records.
Oh yeah, man.
Like, I don't know if I grew up in the '90s.
Yeah, sure.
And then there's like these big soundtracks. Like, I don't even know the movie Singles.
Sure. Yeah, yeah.
That
Soundtrack was like
fucking
was like
awesome,
a
dude.
Seattle greatest hits.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And just other movies like that.
I remember I got some weird soundtracks too. Like I got the soundtrack to The Air Up There. Not good.
Air
Soundtrack
Up
doesn't
There.
really the soundtrack doesn't really cut through. I got the soundtrack to Congo. Not great. Like
So
I
that
was
used to be
trying.
a thing back then.
Yeah,
huh?
like you buy the soundtrack
Right.
because it was like 2 for $10 cassettes or whatever,
Yeah,
your CDs,
yeah.
and like. So I was like, "Fuck it!" I stole some money from my mom. Let me go like buy some soundtracks and try to do whatever.
Some of those things don't happen anymore, man.
No, sadly they don't.
And like,
But now I found the best soundtracks are for like shows on like Showtime and HBO. Like you really want some kick-ass soundtracks? Go find like seasons of like Ray Donovan or of like whatever that David Duchovny show was, Californication. Great soundtracks. Like
Yeah.
those TV shows.
Yeah.
Like because they have to have their soundtracks are like 80, 90 songs long, so you can dig into it, and they're all like epic about some scene.
Right.
So it's like you can get way down into it. When I was a radio DJ, I would just plow through soundtracks to TV shows. Like another great one too. It's not about more modern music, but like the soundtracks to Mad Men seasons is phenomenal. It's all this like '60s jazz and French pop and shit like that. It's
cool.
amazing.
You know what I've been getting into lately is surf music.
Oh yeah, man.
Have you ever gotten into surf music?
Love surf music. I was raised on that stuff. That was the only
really?
other genre that my dad. So like, I have a 1967 Univox High Flyer signed by the Ventures, and like. I love it. I've got like the Ventures Walk Don't Run 64 on vinyl in my
That's the
living room.
first song I played ever learned on guitar.
Yeah?
Walk Don't Run.
Walk Don't Run. There you go. My dad still every now and again he'll talk to me about like because he still plays guitar, and every now and again he's like I'm getting pretty close, and he's just like showing me like the intro to Wipeout and like trying to play Peter Gunn and like Twilight, and stuff like that. And, like, oh man, I love surf rock and like. I feel like surf rock was like, if you want to classify it as anything, that might be the original like punk rock. Like if you, especially out of Seattle, like you get guys like the Sonics and things like that. Like it was basically these people that like didn't really like they were semi-musically talented, some of them more than others, but they had weird gear. They would turn their like reverb, their Marshalls, their Fenders way up with all the reverb up, and make this really bashy music for people to dance to. And there's really no difference between the Ventures and like I mean, the Ramones are basically
Right,
just the
it's the
Beach
same.
Boys,
It's the same
but like
beats,
played
the same-
poorly with like more like funny lyrics. Like
Yeah.
like every time I think about you, what is it like?
Yeah, Ramones is very Beach Boys.
Oh yeah, like what's the song like? Every time I think of you,
She knows a punk rocker.
yeah, like
from-
it makes me want to eat vegetables or something. Like there's a bunch of funny songs from them, but it's all like Johnny, those guys. It's the Beach Boys with distortion. They're literally
exactly.
playing the same guitar. Like the
Exactly.
Mosrite, they're playing like
Right,
the
right.
guitar from the Ramones is the Ventures model Mosrite.
You're right.
And
You're
then
right.
the guitar that Kurt Cobain played was the cheap plywood knockoff of Johnny Ramone's guitar. It was the Univox High Flyer, which is why I bought one, because it was the summation of both the things that my dad raised me on and the stuff that I stole off the internet. And it was fantastic.
Right on, man.
And I my bass player right now plays a '69 Univox High Flyer. He could get the Mosrite, but he got the cheap knockoff because it's lighter and sounds better.
I know that it's the weird looking guitar with the bottom horn is like.
Yeah,
really
it looks like a
long.
Stratocaster upside down.
Right.
And like if you flip the lefty strat
with two
over.
P90s on
Yeah,
it.
two P90s. Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty cool guitar.
Fantastic
Yeah.
guitar. And
Does
they're
it have
indestructible.
does it have a whammy bar on it?
Mine does. Yeah. The bass
so it's
doesn't.
like for surf guitar. for
Yeah,
sure.
so you can hit him. Yeah, absolutely, man.
Nice.
Well, hey, man, I got to get going. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, thanks for coming out, man.
Thank you very much. I really enjoyed it. Once again, like, I'm Charlie from the Dirty Cakes. We got into some of that. We didn't. That's fine.
Yeah.
But I hope you dig it, man. I really enjoyed
Definitely,
this. Sorry if I dominated the hell out of the conversation.
no
You got me
worries.
talking about rock and roll, and I won't shut the fuck up.
That's what we were here for, man.
That's it.
So, let everyone know where they can find you online.
Yeah, man. So it's Dirty Cakes. You Google us. We're like the third thing. It's like penis cake, titty cake, rock and roll. But Dirty Cakes Band. We got the Twitter, the Facebook, the MySpace. There's no MySpace, but there's an Instagram. There's a YouTube.
Right on.
Dirty Cakes. You can type in our singles like "I'd Love You See You Naked" or "Resist," those things, and you can go way down the rabbit hole. There's years of content. We're putting out new stuff right now. All of our shit is free. Whatever the most recent record is free. Most of our shows are $5 or less. We're just trying to get out there and have a good time and do something. None of us are going to ever expect any of this to pay our rent or make any money. We're just trying to have a damn good time. And because of that ethos, people dig it because we don't need anything from anybody. We're just
sure.
trying to get people laid.
Nice.
Yeah, that's my job. I'm the
Hell
front
yeah.
man. I try to find the guy in the back room who isn't getting off, and I get him off, and that you can print.
For sure. Well, that's Charlie from Dirty Cakes, guys. Thanks for coming out, Charlie.
Thank you very much.
Hope you can score some serious strikes at the
Punk
Rock
Rock
Bowling League.
I hope so, man. I hope so. I'm looking forward to it. I got the lowest handicap on my team.
Sweet.
Yeah.
I'll definitely have to practice, and maybe we can bowl sometime.
I'm down, man. Let's
Fuck
go
it,
throw
dude.
some lanes, dude. Right? That's all the old punk rockers are doing. Let's get ahead of them. So by the time we're that old, we're good.
Right on. Good.
All right, man. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you very much for
enjoyed
coming
this.
out here. Good to meet you, man.
Yeah, we're shaking hands right now for all the people listening. There we
yeah,
go.
dude. Let's do this again sometime. Maybe we
I'm
can
down.
jam. too.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Come out to a show, do whatever, man. We'll make sure that you get taken care of, and we can do an after show thing or something like that. Whatever you want to do, man. Let's have some fun.
Let's do it. All right, man. Thank
All
you very
right.
much.
Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it.
All right, peace.
All right, bye.